supported from the standpoint of our national association. The American Physical Therapy Association, apta.org, if you want more information and even just a little bit of the background on the APTA Wellness Council, will give you a little bit more of the insight there, but our peers recognize that to be relevant, we need to stay connected with people, and there's opportunity, obviously, with the physical therapy peers to engage something that's going to be values-based, it's going to be comprehensive from a healthy lifestyle standpoint, and it can generate revenue, cash-based revenue. That's what I've seen over the past years from a practice standpoint as I've connected with more of my peers. What I do to engage health professionals or to help them become more aware or more awakened, I provide value to them. So even as I approach my peers, they might or might not be aware of the fact that APTA has approved this Wellness Council. If they are not aware of that, it's an opportunity for them to step into some of the programming. If they have recognized that but haven't engaged a healthy lifestyle program, we have a great opportunity to dialogue. Additional value that I look at providing to them includes Habits of Health webinars, Trilogy Zooms. You know, there are a number of things from a content standpoint that create more of that awareness, and I've learned that it's a process. It doesn't happen overnight. It's a relationship, and at some level, I have a cool or warm relationship with some of those peers that I continue to add value to them as they're working through the process of understanding what does this look like, how do we engage it, what is this type of business, and how can it benefit the patients that I'm working with. The other thing that I offer up, as I've seen this play out with a number of my peers, even some of my team that are here today are from the health professional market. You know, when they ask questions about how to engage the program, I ask them to experience the program. And I'd say that's been one of the most beneficial aspects is they experience the program at some level. Doesn't mean that they have to do 5 and 1, they might do 3 and 3. One of my former partners was a triathlete, so he obviously didn't need to do the 3 or the 5 and 1 because he probably had 3% body fat. But he became awakened to what we had, and probably his biggest ahas were hydration and the balance of what we have with healthy snacks or high protein content with our fuelings. So experiencing the program, providing value to folks, those are the things that I'd say also has helped with the engagement and just understanding what we have to offer.
Thanks, Mark. That was great. I'm Margaret Van Houten. I've been an Optavia coach for 12 years. I'm Dr. Nelson's wife. We're a team when it comes to Optavia, but the perspective I'm going to give you today is more as the doctor's wife, because I want you to think about, as you think about the health professional market, to realize there are many relationships within that, and it's not just getting through the front door in the doctor's office that's going to get you to your goal of working with health professionals. As Mark mentioned, I think it's worth repeating, 1.4 billion physician office visits a year, and the healthcare industry being one of the biggest employers in the United States. So, I think initially when people, especially new coaches, they're excited, they think, wow, if I could get a doctor, it would be my golden ticket, to clients and building a big business. Having worked in that arena for the last 12 years, what we know is, yes, there's huge potential, but it can be a very slow process. It takes patience and persistence, being very flexible, and there is no single way to do a health professional. We know that our health professional practices need to be compliant, and they need to follow the policies and procedures, but beyond that, it's their business, it's the doctor's business. They decide how an Optavia practice is going to be run in their business. So we have to go with that process, even though we know some of the things they may want to do, from our experience, are not the best way to do it. So we need to, really, really have patience and persistence. So One of the things I really want to challenge you on, and it's, if you remember when you first became a coach, when you're working on your list, there is that game, you know, who do you know who's a beautician, and who do you know who's a trainer? So just play that game in the health professional arena with yourself. And think about, who do you know who's a nurse practitioner? Who do you know who's a PT? Who do you know who's a PA? Who do you know who's an x-ray tech? Who might not be an obvious choice to think, well, they don't have, you know, they work in a hospital, they don't have patients. They know a lot of doctors, they know a lot of nurses, they know a lot of, so, you know, when you're doing your health assessments and you're chatting with people and you're building your relationship, that's an aspect of their life that you want to find out with any client. Are there health professionals in your family? Are there people in your family that we could share this with? So it's really, when you step back and think about it that way, there is just such huge potential to reach into that market, and we need to. I mean, we feel very passionately, we want especially doctors to come into this business, doctors, chiropractors, but health professionals on all levels. It lends credibility to what we do. We know what we have. It's great science, it beats anything that's out there, but having actual health professionals in our business really lends to that credibility. I want to give you just a couple of examples of some of the practices that we're working with, you know, just to give you a sense of some of the challenges and some of the things. Oh wait, I only have a minute. I have to be fast. Okay, so I'm going to give you one example. Maybe I'll get to do the second one. There's a doctor who came into our business about last May, and kind of funny story, he reached out to Mark. He saw Mark on a YouTube video of one of the health professional panels at a convention and reached out to Mark. So I don't know who put that YouTube video up, but thank you for building our business. That was really... So this doctor came to convention as an associate director, was expressing frustration that, you know, no one in my office wants to do this. And we know that you need a champion, at least one champion in the office to help the doctor do this. So, you know, had some conversation. He went back, he sent a memo to his staff saying, our office is doing Optavia. You don't have to become a coach, but I expect you to support and be positive and share, you know, the information that I give you to share. So one of the staff members, who's a nurse practitioner, raised her hand and said, oh, I'll help you, doctor, I'll do this. So he's now a regional director. He's signed up a few other doctors, and his nurse practitioner, who only wanted to help the doctor, is now also signing up coaches. So that's a real win. And, you know, very exciting for us. And how much time do I have? I'm done. Okay, thank you. I have some other stories. Come and ask me, I'll tell you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Mary DiDio, and I'm an Optavia coach 12 years now. I'm also a chiropractor, and I practiced for 25 years as a chiropractor. And the last 6 years of that time, I brought this program into my practice for my patients. At that time, I was looking for something to help my patients, and I was also very much looking for some residual income to benefit my practice overall. So, I practiced 25 years. 5 years before I stopped practicing, I actually injured my hand and had to have surgery, wasn't able to practice, but you know, luck is opportunity meeting preparedness, and I was really so lucky that at the time I couldn't practice anymore, I was able to take a sidestep right into my Optavia business. I didn't even miss a beat. I just started doing that full-time. And I loved it, and I was able to deal with the fact that even though I was tormented by the fact that I wouldn't be able to be the caregiver to my patients that I so much loved over the years, I was still giving care through Optavia. So that for me was a really beautiful thing. So we were asked to talk today about how we approach healthcare professionals, and I really have a very multifold way of approaching. First of all, my warmest market was obviously the chiropractic profession, and I really made it my mission to help other chiropractors look into this program, perhaps offer it to their patients, enable them to help them more, but also bring in residual income. I hated to see healthcare professionals in general who were just dropping out of practice because they couldn't afford to be in practice anymore. So I got busy in my state association. I went and exhibited every month to their monthly meetings. I went to the conferences that they had twice a year. So that was within my own profession. You know what? I shared and cared. I didn't sell and tell. I told people what it was for me, how it worked for me and my patients, and we just really chatted about it. As far as other healthcare professionals, when I get a client, I ask them, who's your primary physician, who's your endocrinologist, who's your whoever, and I ask their permission if I could let them know that they're on the program. And I not always, but I very simply often drop them a short note. Your patient, dear Dr. Doe, your patient Jane Smith is on the Optavia program and has successfully lost 25 pounds to date. Tell them a little bit about the program if they're interested. Tell them to reach out, or I can offer to reach out. So that's one way I contact other health professionals. You can send them the Optavia guide. You can call them. I'm not great on cold calling. I have done it. It's not my favorite thing, but some people love it. So I think what you need to do is look at the different ways to do this and find something that's comfortable for you. As far as how to implement this program, I think what we need to keep in mind is that healthcare professionals most often are exhausted, they are tired, and they are very, very, very busy. So I think we need to give them choices. And just like we have the 5 and 1 as a choice, the 4 and 2 and 1, the 3 and 3, we need to give them choices on knowing in advance how to implement this into their practice. So they can coach themselves. Most do not do that. I mean, I did that, Dee, I know you did that. But that we can train their staff to do that. We can go and do a lunchtime presentation just to let them know about the program. So we can train their staff to do it. We can also send them one of our coaches to run it for them. Or they can just send us referrals. So there's really a very multi-tiered way of them implementing this. And I think we need to let them know that so we don't see that deer in the headlight looks that we get all the time about, oh my God, I just can't even think about doing one more thing. So, you know, again, it's all about choices. And, you know, just to finish up here, I really think it's just to let them know that this opportunity exists. I'll never forget hearing in a conference once that we have a responsibility to let people know that this program is out there. They need to know that their patients have an opportunity to get healthier besides what they themselves are doing with the patients. So let them know, share and care, and just be there if they're interested. Thank you.
My name's Whitney Cowell. I can talk loud. I'm an integrated presidential director, and I have had the fortune of working with Dr. Anderson and my mentor, Greg Rex, since the inception of the company. So I want to share from a layperson who really cares about the healthcare industry. I really care about the healers. I care that the healers of our country, the medical doctors who are trained to help, are stuck in a system that is no longer working. Would you guys agree with that? And that makes my heart so sad for the people who are subject to their limitations. Dee was sharing over this last week about the cost of diabetic insulin. I don't know if anybody's read about that. That makes me angry, and I feel all my emotions now. So, so that makes me want to help them even more. But that is, when I came into this business, something that I was comfortable doing because I work corporate or business to business. So this isn't for everyone, which I learned through the last almost 16 years of doing this, is that not everybody wants to work with health professionals or needs to. There's obviously in our company plenty of opportunities everywhere. But first, I know my why. My why is that I want to go in and serve. That's why I'm intending to contact a health professional. And I love the new word, pursuit. So I'm going to change it. My intention, I usually set an intention before I pick up the phone because I do cold calls. And you can do it a lot of ways. When I first started, I went to a doctor that I knew. My old boss, where I got paid 20 grand a year, I took her to the plastic surgeon 3 times. So when I got this business, when I started doing this, I went to that plastic surgeon and showed Greg Rex's picture to him. And I said, what do you do with your patients who are overweight that can't qualify for liposuction? And he says, I tell them to lose weight and I tell them to come back. And I said, what if you referred them to me and I got them healthy? And then I sent him back to you. And that created a great relationship. Eventually he signed up. But I want to talk about my intention because I want to go back to, referrals are huge. I think everyone knows someone in their life that can send them referrals, whether it's a PT, any kind of health professional. Someone knows someone. If you build a relationship or know someone who knows someone, they can refer you people. And I think referrals is a great way to go. But if I'm making cold calls, my intention is to make the person, and even if I'm not, if you know somebody and you're calling the health professional office, I like to make the person on the other end of the line smile. They're making probably $9 an hour. They got 50 people in front of them. The doctor may not be the greatest person, or the staff may. It's a tough job. How many people have a job in the room, right? You know that this person has a stressful day. So that's my intention. I'll have a great conversation with them and try to make a friend. And when I do that by asking questions, and I'm going to tell you what I say, is because they'll say, how can I help you? And I'll say, well, I'm not sure you can, but do you have a program for overweight patients that maybe have diabetes, high blood pressure, cholesterol? Does your doctor offer something, or do you guys work with someone who helps them? And they'll usually tell me yes or no, and I will move towards asking, could I come in, and I'm a health coach, and what I do is I work with health professionals to add value to their patients' lives and to help them get healthy. Is there a way that I could set up a coffee meeting or help opportunity to get in front of your physician? What would you do? Sometimes we'll ask that. So it's a different conversation depending on your personality and who's your mentor. You'll have that conversation to see if you can schedule. It's just an appointment. So that is how I intend on getting in front of them. Now, if I get a hold of the physician, a lot of times people get really scared because physicians, I mean, how many people feel like physicians are like gods in our world, right? But there are people who care. They just want to make a difference in their patients' lives. That's the whole intent. And I have something that could really help, but I'm aware of their limitations. So I'm really conscious about what I ask. So I'll just say, you know, I'm a health coach, and I'm looking to network with the top health professionals in town, and it would be an honor to have an opportunity to get to know you and pick your brain and see what you're doing to help your patients and see if maybe we can collaborate. I'd love to do healthy happy hours and help physicians learn how to do wellness seminars in their practice, and maybe we could do something together to make a difference. And sometimes they'll say yes, sometimes they'll say no. And either way, my intention is to get their email and their cell phone. By the end of that conversation, I'm just going to keep dripping on them. If they say not now, that's my time. And then in closing, I tell them I'm going to follow up. Because physicians are so busy, I just make sure they know, is it okay if I call you again? And that's how I close that conversation.
So hi, I'm Dr. Delia Garcia, and I'm an oncologist, breast cancer by background. And so I practiced medicine for 25 years, and almost 30 years actually. And I've been health coaching for 12 years now, so I overlap some with my medical practice. I left mainstream medicine 8 years ago to do this full time, and this has been a fabulous plan B for me. I can't imagine what I would be doing without Optavia. It's just been so wonderful. So how do you approach health professionals? First of all, many of you have health professionals that are friends, right? And we approach our friends and our acquaintances first. So it can be very, very simple. I want to start with Dr. Brenda Eisen. Brenda, if you're here, you can please stand up. But Brenda is a family medicine physician, and she called me one day to discuss a mutual patient that had breast cancer. And at the end of the conversation, she said, "So what's new with you?" And I said, "Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I just added a weight loss program to my practice." And so you don't want to get out there and be, I'm doing this transformational thing. Just say weight loss, at least at the beginning. I said, "I just started this weight loss program in my practice because there's a huge link between overweight and breast cancer." And she said, "Oh my gosh, well, I just replaced my scale with a 500-pound scale because my 300-pound scale needed to be calibrated over and over." And she said, "Can you come to the office next week and tell me what you're doing?" And so it was as simple as that. Brenda came on board, and in a month, she was an executive director. So that's one very successful model. And then Dr. Kathy Botany. Kathy, if you're here, stand up. So Kathy is an OBGYN, and I've known Kathy for years, but I didn't approach Kathy. Dr. Eisen started the program on a couple of Kathy's patients, and when the patients went to see Dr. Botany, they were like, "Oh my gosh," she was like, "Oh my gosh, what have you been doing?" Kathy got on the program herself and lost a fair amount of weight, and then she came on board as a health coach. So see how this ripples out. And then Kathy brought in to our organization another physician that I knew for years, Kathy knew for years, Brenda knew for years, an endocrinologist. And the endocrinologist saw the results of some of Dr. Botany's patients. And so he called her and said, "What are you doing?" Because he needed to lose about 45 pounds. So he got on program, and he ended up becoming a health coach. Now, what I like about the endocrinologist is that his wife became the coach for that team. So when I meet with a health professional, I always say, "What does your spouse do?" Because many times the spouse is a stay-at-home mom, the spouse works in the office, and that can be such a great combination. But honestly, in my opinion, the most successful health coaches are those who coach their own people. So they may start out with a helper in the office. Now the endocrinologist and his wife, that was a great combo. But other physicians may start out with a person helping them in the office, but really the most success comes when you embrace this for yourself. Because when I came to my first major event years ago, and I saw what was possible, I was not about to leave my future in the hands of one of my employees. I owned my own cancer center with 4 other women physicians. They were our employees. I could have said to my nurse, "Brenda, you need to help me with this." Instead, I did it myself because I knew what I could say. And I'm going to end with 2 more physicians. Dr. Gutierrez, who's in the room, she's over there. And Elsa is a dermatologist. And then Dr. Sesker, who is a chiropractor. And all four of us are here because we coach our own patients. We love them, we support them, we guide them, and we don't leave our futures in the hands of someone else. So thank you very much.